Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is Jay Lee's Corner. I am of course Jay Lee, and this is my review for Growing Up Hip Hop. This is the LA cast entitled, Season 3, Episode 6, titled Let's Talk About Pep. You gonna talk about the parent on the show about Growing Up Hip Hop? Okay. So yeah. Was this episode interesting? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, everything is getting repetitive. And, well, I'll just tell you what happened. Some things I'm skipping because it wasn't even worth mentioning. Ain't no point doing a review about stuff that doesn't really matter. Because like the beginning scene is just Romeo and his dad, showing that they made up. Okay, cool. That's all I was going to talk about. But that I was going to skip. The next thing that we see is Boogie going to his lawyer because of his DUI and him having to pay lawyer fees and all this other stuff. And his lawyer basically saying, hey, I'm still trying to fix my shirt. His lawyer is saying, do you have the money? Because remember, his lawyer initially said that it would cost him $5,000. So Boogie's like, yep, I got the $5,000 cash on hand. His lawyer then says, well, it can cost you up to $10,000 to $15,000 or $5,000. It's just lawyer fees. That's just my fee. But when you factor in court fees and all the other fees, it can go up to $10,000 or $15,000. I would have been like, why you ain't tell me that a long time ago? I would have been hustling even harder to get a little bit more money. But his lawyer didn't tell him that. I'm like, my hair looks like I got a bald spot. Damn gray hair. Do I have a bald spot? Oh, no, that's just how my hair is. Okay. I was like, oh, my God, no. Sorry, I got distracted right there. So, yeah. His lawyers also asking him, like, have you told your father yet? And he's like, no, I haven't mentioned it to him yet. And his lawyer does advise, like, well, I think you should possibly tell your father. Basically because you can possibly go to jail. Because this is a very, very serious offense. And I think he would want to know. And he would want to help. Which is true. But Boogie, of course, has been scared to tell his dad, just scared about how his dad would act or how his dad would react. So, yeah, we had that whole scene. The next one, we see Vanessa and Angela meeting up to go do a little shopping at a baby store because they're both parents. And it was a quick little scene, basically. Vanessa asked Angela, has she talked to Darian? And she's like, no. I've reached out, but I haven't talked to her. And Vanessa then said, well, I'm going to FaceTime her right now. And then she FaceTimes her, or tries to FaceTime her, and get hit with that unavailable. So she called, I think, twice to try to do it, and neither time did she answer. So, she finally, she's like, I just want my sisters to get along. I want them to be on the same page. Well, they're two adults, okay? Just let it go. Let them work their own things out. So, the next thing we see is Egypt, and she finally reads her mom's book. And I'm old enough to remember when Pep and Tretch was dating back in the day. I'm also old enough to remember before they were dating and things like that. So, I didn't read Pep's book just because I guess I just didn't want to read it. But the funny part about it is the excerpts from the book is being read by Pep. Now, I don't know if Pep ever did an audio version of the book and they did the audio version of it. But my thing is, while they have Egypt looking at the book, Pep's voice is talking and is talking to what's in the book. Saying how, she met, him a while ago, how she was a big naughty by nature fan, then went on to say how Tretch would abuse her, beat her up, choke her. She even implied that he raped her, because what she said was, he never had to force it on her, but he took it, and after he took it, I laid there numb. To me, that means rape. To me, that means he didn't have to take my coochie, but he took my coochie and he raped me. That's what I got from what she said. I don't know how to interpret, he never had to force it on me, but he took it. And after he took it, I was numb. That's what rape victims say. So, I'm also not inclined to go read the book. Am I shocked that she's insinuating that her child's father raped her, beat her, was just horrible to her. You know, how she was shocked how wrong he did her because he was supposed to love her. I'm not completely shocked because people do crazy things every day. I'm just shocked that she wrote about it in a book and she assumed her children would never read it. Or she didn't want her children to know. What you don't want someone else to know, you don't write about. You know what I'm saying? That's just not what you do. So Egypt reading the book, for her, it was very emotional. And she said she now realizes why her mother didn't want her to read the book. She realized what TT was saying. You know, it could change your feelings about someone. She just didn't know that that person would be about her father. Seeing as that's one of the persons that Pep wrote about in her book. And the name of the book was Let's Talk About Pep. So I guess that's why the name of this episode was that. But you know, it's whatever. But I guess she said other things too. But they had Pepper's voice talking about what Tresh did to her. So I'm like, if she did these voiceovers after the fact, I'm like, he got to be mad. I mean, he probably was mad too a long time ago. My face is oily. I gotta use my It Works face stuff. I'm pretty sure Trish was probably pissed off when she wrote the book, because the book came out years ago. I was a little shocked hearing this. I was like, wow, you know, only because I didn't know. I'm like, wow, people do stuff like that, because people do things worse than that. You know, people rape, murder, kill, you know, mutilate, all that craziness that people do to people. I'm happy that, you know, he didn't kill her. So, yeah. Next we see Christiana meets with a new agent. The agent supposedly has worked with other people. I think they said like Nelly Furtado, Carrie Hilson, you know, different other female artists and stuff. And, you know, he seems happy to work with her to get her career back on track. She mentions how, you know, she used to tour with Britney Spears a long, long time ago when she was younger. And her career stalled once she got a little bit older and she was more sexy and they didn't know what to do with her. So, you know, he's like, okay, we're happy to work with you and everything. He then brings up a rumor that's supposedly on like a blog or whatever. It's like, do you know anything about this? And she's like, oh my God, I hope it's not this dumb rumor about me and Adonis. Well, no. Turns up it's a rumor that her grandmother found her supposed half-sister that her father had with Janet Jackson. When I tell you this is the reason why I said I didn't know how much I liked this episode, this was the reason why. No one, I'm not going to say no one. Well, a lot of people don't give less than 2 fucks about a baby by Janet Jackson that could have possibly been born 30-something years ago. My thing is, I feel like this. If a person did get pregnant and they gave their child up for adoption, a closed adoption at that, it's not fair for people to kind of capitalize off that later. We're like, well, you know, if she did, it's my half-sister, so I have a right to meet her. Technically, no, you don't. Because the parent gave the child up. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you have to respect the privacy, 1, of that parent who chose to give the child up. 2, for the people who possibly adopted the child. And 3, for the child who was adopted who might not want to be in the spotlight. I am pretty sure if somebody found out that they were the daughter of Janet Jackson and whichever damn DeBarge Janet Jackson was married to, and that is, I can't remember which DeBarge is Christiana's daddy, but I'm pretty sure if that person knew that, who knew who they were, they would absolutely come forth and say, I'm that daughter. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason this has been just a fake ass rumor forever, solely because, you know, people think it happened 32 years ago. I'm going to need Christiana to give it up. Also, I'm going to need DeBarge's mama to not be talking about how she found the dang on girl. My thing is this. I feel like if there was a real baby and somebody found that girl, it would be all over the fucking news. So whenever I hear someone say, oh, it's a rumor on this one blog site that somebody might have found, no, it ain't true. Because if it was, it would be huge news. So Christiana, baby girl, please focus on your music career. You are a talented, talented girl. cut the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Don't waste your story time on growing up hip hop, worried about a goddamn possible half sister from 31 years ago. When you trying to be a person in the music industry, use the show to get what you need, and that's a goddamn on record deal. Next, Vanessa's hanging out with Deja, who was Teddy Riley's daughter, and she's basically telling her how she wants to reconnect her sisters. You know, Angela and the other sister whose name I can't remember right now, because I knew it earlier. She does it that she realized that she can't fix it. That she can't fix it. Only the two sisters can, which is true. That's what I said earlier. You have to allow people who don't get along to decide if they want to get along. You can't force them to get along. You can't, especially if one person ready and the other person not, or if one person pissed off and the other person isn't, or if they both just at that point in time don't want to hear each other. Because if you keep being the middle person, they gonna both get pissed off at you. Okay, that's what's gonna happen. So you know, they've had their conversation. They know, you know, what they need to do. Give them time to work that out before you keep meddling in it and putting your fingers in it. You know what I'm saying? Trying to fix something. Teddy Riley, I can't keep calling the girl Teddy Riley daughter. I call her that only because she doesn't have her own confessional thing. So when she be on the scene, on the screen, I keep forgetting who she is because she don't talk in the confessional, and that's how I consistently see a person's name and can remember, okay, that's who she is, because they show the name each time. They show that girl name one time, I'm like, I don't remember who the fuck she is. She be on like one episode every now and again. So Deja, who is Teddy Riley's daughter, is inviting the couple, you know, the ladies, to her boxing gym. It's a gym where she teaches people to do boxing, and it looked like she also sell boxing equipment and gear and stuff like that. So Vanessa like, well, who are you? You know, you invited everyone? And she was like, no, not everyone. Go ahead, Deja. Just throw that shade. She said she's basically she's invited everyone except Brianna. And then she goes on to tell Vanessa about the whole speed dating fiasco where Brianna was very rude to her. She was rude to Christiana. And, you know, was just basically a bitch. And, you know, they both say how, you know, they just don't want that bad energy around. I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? That's the best thing to do. She also brought up how Brianna brought up rumors that Christiana was, my battery getting low, that Christiana was sleeping with Adonis. You know, Vanessa goes on to say that she knows Christiana, and she knows that Christiana and Adonis are friends, and she doesn't believe the rumor at all. She said because she just knows them. You know? Okay. The next thing that we see is Boogie talking to his dad and finally telling him about the DUI. And, I mean, Dane was visibly upset. I was happy he didn't snap and go off how he usually has done in previous instances of things I've seen him react to. But he reacts like a concerned father. You know what I'm saying? For the first time, I'm looking like, okay. And I think the reason I'm saying it is because usually he just flips off and goes crazy and yelling and fussing or whatever. I think this time he was more reserved because he's probably like, okay, something wrong with my son. Because this is his second DUI. It's the reason he keeps drinking and getting into all these issues. So, you know, he's like, you know, I'm trying to control myself so that I don't get angry how I used to get angry. You know, I don't want to react that way. And because first of all, he's in the jacuzzi. And to me, that's just funny. And, you know, he's like, when did it happen? He's like, well, you know what happened a couple months ago. So then Dane was upset because he's like, you've been hiding it, you know, from me for a couple months. You know, Dane feels like, you know, his son lied and he doesn't see why he couldn't come to him. He's like, I always tell my son the only one you ever lied to was the police. You never lied to me. You know, I'm concerned with the fact that he didn't feel like he can come talk to me. He asked him, you know, are you happy with life? You know, do you love life? Which is a good question, because if you're out there drinking and driving, what the fuck is your problem? Like, do you want to die? He also said, I told you the first time you had the DUI, you know, if you were having issues or drinking problems, tell me, come talk to me, because I'm going to take your car from you, because I don't want to be paying for a car that you end up killing yourself in, or even worse, you kill somebody else. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to contribute to that. I respect how he was talking. I mean, he was being honest. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't being an asshole. He was being honest, asking him real shit. So, you know, he like, you know, he said, you need some white people stuff. Like, do you need rehab? I don't agree that rehab is white people stuff. Let me say that. Rehab is stuff that anyone can need, no matter the race they are. He like, you need to address your issues. And he was just reacting like a concerned father. Not saying that he wasn't a concerned father before, but before he's always like frantic and all over the place and yelling and fussing. And this was a different reaction. I think it was a reaction he needed to have to see that his son has issues. To see that your son might not be happy and content with everything just because you was dad and y'all have a little bit of money. He has some kind. He has a drinking problem. He does, because he keeps getting DUIs. Like, something wrong. You know what I'm saying? One DUI, I get it. You might have did not realize that you were drunk, but you clearly twice have been under the influence you were driving. He like, look, I would have preferred you to have told me sooner. Now I have to rethink trusting him, and I have to rethink the whole Vegas weed thing, and I just have to rethink everything about just him, because I don't know what's going on. He then say, look, he basically told me, you got to move out today. I'm like, damn, Dame, you got to go right now? Like, right now? And sure enough, he made him pack his stuff, and he put him out. So Boogie ends up texting Romeo, like, hey, my dad just put me out. I told him about the DUI. Can I crash at your place for a little bit? So Romeo like, sure, I'm on set. But when I come home, we can link up. So, yeah. The next thing we see is Egypt and TT in the car after Egypt has read the book. And she's just saying how it's hard for her to process the book based on, what her dad did to her mom. So it's hard for her to, know how to feel, because her dad was horrible to her mom. So for her, she just can't imagine her dad being that kind of person. TT old monkey ass, she like, well, I don't worry about Pep being mad at me because I gave you the book. Look, Pep can't be mad at nobody but herself, because Pep, you wrote the book. Okay? You can't get mad that you wrote a book and that your daughter eventually read it. It was a book about your life. You thought she would never read the book? Like, if you didn't want her to find out those things, those are things you should have left out the book. You can't tell your child, well, you know what, just don't read the book. They're going to read the book. If my mom write a book tomorrow and she say, well, I don't think you should read it, Mom, I'm going to read the book. Like, I'm going to have to face that. I'm going to read that book. So my thing is, Pep, you should not have wrote the book. Or you could have left her father out of it, because that's your child's father. Some people always say they won't speak on their children's father or their children's mother to not taint their child's to not taint the way their child feels about their parent. I agree with people doing that. You have to protect the child at all costs. Next we see Brianna's at her house, and she's like, oh, with my real friends, because of course she wasn't invited to the boxing thing. And she's like, I wasn't invited because, I make them feel uncomfortable and they're insecure. No, bitch, they don't like you. That simple. They do not like you. Hell, half of America don't like your ass because you are just aggravating. Ugh. So, she's in there with her two best friends, these two guys, and so you hear knock, knock, knock at the door. So she go downstairs with a damn weed joint in her hand, and it's like an envelope on her door with her name on it, and it's taped to the door. Now, I was honestly being petty, and I'm like, oh, I hope it's an eviction notice, because she get on my nerve. Even though I don't want nobody to be homeless, I really did say I wish it was an eviction notice. But it was actually a photo that someone had doctored up of her mom, of Mary J. Blige and Kendu, saying, you bitch, Mary chose wrong, and had her father's name scratched off. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Mary's crazy fans, be finding me. Somebody posted my address, online, so that's how they find me. And they, say crazy things. Personally, I feel like she had somebody do that. Solely because if the recording crew was outside and someone walks up to your house and they put something on your door, I feel like production would have got that on film and would have showed at least someone coming and going. Because when you went downstairs, they were outside the door and showed you open the door. Okay? So no, I feel like she had somebody do that because, again, she needed a storyline. I just don't feel like everyone is stalking Kendu's one daughter about him and Mary. I don't believe that, me personally. I know people do have crazy fans and they do crazy things, but I'm like, that was kind of just so out the blue. I feel like she made that happen. That's just my opinion. You know, she then goes on to say how, you know, I know how people think celebrity kids, you know, can get whatever they want, get cars whenever they want, you know, but that's not what I get. You know, I get crazy people who call my phone and pop up to my house. Well, bitch, well, guess what? You are Mary J. Blige's future ex-husband's daughter, okay? Go on somewhere. Ugh. So, she also calls TT to tell TT what happened. Why? I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. She did have a machete named Billy, which is weird. I'm like, what? Cause that's what I said. I got a machete named Billy I can protect myself with. Girl, sit your ass down somewhere. So the ladies all go to Deja's boxing gym. They all have fun. Even there was, Deja invited a Jackson, like Michael Jackson told me, a Jackson's kid. I don't know who the girl was, but she's a Jackson. She's one of the cousins, grandchildren, or whatever. Christiana's like, you know, I would love to ask her questions, but it might be awkward about my half-sister. Christiana, that girl don't know nothing. She your age. Why would she know? She wasn't born back then. I mean, it wasn't an older Jackson. It wasn't Tito. It wasn't Jermaine. No, it wasn't Marlon. The fuck, how she gonna know? She your age. What the fuck? So, I'm like, Lord Jesus. But guess who also was there? Adonis. Christiana, I'm not gonna say you and that man messing around, but you know when TT said every time you turn around, you know he's here. I agree with that. But you know what? Also, some people do bring their friend wherever they go. So I don't know if they fucking around. We shall find out. I do know that the bags under TT's eyes is real fucking heavy for all this tea she be carrying around with her. Yep. Christiana does talk to Angela at the end of the boxing thing about, you know, is she getting married, how the baby's doing. Angela kind of says, you know, right now she's not worried about the marriage. She's trying to focus on, you know, being a good mom. She did say, you know, everything happened so quickly. We were together. We were planning a wedding. Then I got pregnant. So, you know, but right now I'm trying to focus on being a mom. I don't know if her and that man together. I don't. I do feel like her avoiding the questions just means she don't want to talk about it. And, you know, but I also feel like you can't be on a reality show and not want to talk about your reality. You can't have it both ways. So, you was all on the season, like you was on there all last season. And this is not. And I believe it's because she's going through whatever. So, I also feel like if she's going through a breakup, if she's going through postpartum, if she's going through being a first-time mom and it not being what she expected, that it's hard on her. I'm just hoping that eventually she opens up about her experience. Because you never know. That can help somebody else who could be going through the same thing. So, Vanessa's still a little bit trying to play goddamn connect the dots with her sisters. And Angela's like, look, I'm gonna let her Darian figure it out. You know, she can hit me up when she's ready. They all discuss Boogie a little bit. You know, Angela's saying how, you know, she knows him, she cares about him because they're friends. But that right now she feel like it's a rumor. And she's like, you know, with rumors you have to just kind of ignore them until you can figure it out if it's real or not. She was like, so, you know, that's it. So she had to leave to go check on the baby. The next thing we see is Egypt talking about how hard it is that she's read her mom's book. She's heard these things about her father. She's very sad. You know, she's been crying to herself. You know, she just feels so emotional and everything. And they're like, you know, we're always here for you. You don't have to cry for yourself. Cry by yourself. You know, we're here to support you. And she starts crying. Oh, Lord Jesus. She starts crying. TT takes her into the bathroom. And TT does give her a nice little talk. But what I didn't like, that, well, TT just told her, you know, it's okay to be sad and emotional, but we are all here for you. You can be strong. But she then said, you have to look at it as if your mother's husband is not your father. Technically, yes, it is. But what she meant was the person your father was when he was your mother's husband isn't who he is today. So I get it how if she would have worded it differently. Because that's true. A lot of people do change based on mistakes they made in their past. So she was basically trying to say was your father back then was your mom's husband. He did bad things. But he's matured, he's changed, and he's the father that you know now. Cool. Great idea. So we see Boogie. He goes to Romeo's house. Master P is there as well. So Romeo does share with Master P that Boogie got another DUI, how his dad put him out, and how he just needs to be around some positive energy. He just needs support from his friend. Master P is, that's a good thing. Let him know if he needs anything from you. If you need me to talk to him, I'm here. And when Boogie gets there, he just says to him, Master P says to him before he leaves out, he was like, no matter what you're going through in life, make sure to keep your family involved to keep you, afloat. He was like, it's nothing matters if you don't have your family to support you. Boogie said that was great too. He said how he feels good to have this positive energy and friends around him who was trying to help him through this, situation. He was saying how, he's not going to deny anyone who's offering him help to get better because he knows he has a problem. And he's like, for right now, I just feel like I need time to breathe. He was like, sometimes it's hard when you do something wrong and then everyone is attacking you, trying to fix it or trying to, just kind of talk to you about it, and you feel smothered in a way. He's like, so, he just needs a little bit of time to breathe and get his thoughts together and, get things in order. Romeo says, even looking at Boogie, you can tell something is different. He says how Boogie is usually, so happy-go-lucky. He always has a smile on his face, even if things are going wrong. But he always looks happy. He's like, he doesn't look happy anymore, and something's up, and I want to make sure that my friend is okay. He tells Boogie that, he can, stay there, crash there as long as he needs to get himself together. Ain't no thing, which is beautiful. It's a good thing that he understands Boogie is actually going through something, because any addiction is hard to deal with. And Boogie's young. He's, a rich kid. He probably has access to all kind of stuff, so I'm pretty sure it's hard for him to balance the addiction that he has without trying to go overboard with it. He's trying to keep it under control, basically. And it's good that Romeo is able to be there for him, as his friend. I think that's really cool. So yeah. The last thing we see is Egypt confronting Peppa that she read the book. We didn't see the whole confrontation. It's just, of course, the beginning stages of it where she walks in and say, Mom, I read the book. And Peppa's like, but I told you to not read it. You promised. And she's like, well, I'm old enough now. I did read it. She's like, well, how did you get it? I don't know why she keeps saying, how did she get it? As if the book, isn't accessible. But she told her, Titi got it for me, which pisses Pep off. Like, why would she do that? And she's like, I had a right to read it. Why wouldn't you tell me, that my dad was so horrible to you? He beat you, choked you till you almost passed out, and all this stuff. And Pep, Egypt starts crying, Pep starts crying, and then it goes off. So I'm interested to see the next episode to see how that conversation goes. We do see in the preview that Egypt also goes to visit her father to get his side of the story, to see what he says, because everybody knows there are two sides to the story. Her side, his side, and then the damn truth. And, the truth was always somewhere in between the two sides. So we shall hear Pep's talk, we'll hear what Tret says, and then, everything else that plays itself out. So, it was a good episode. Bits and pieces here and there. So, yeah. I guess I enjoyed it. But, again, I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner. That's my review of Growing Up Hip Hop. Season 3, episode... I was thinking which episode is on. Episode 6. So, until next time, thank you for tuning in. Peace.